You have no orders, so sit still. Don't break formation." The harsh shout echoed as the brown-haired female sniper sat alone, quietly disassembling her rifle in the command post. Nobody gave her a mission. Nobody needed her. They called her Avenger because she only arrived after the losses. But hours later, when Hill 8 exploded from an ambush, she was the only one who saw it coming and fired without waiting for orders. Who was she, and why did she know? Temporary base south of DM, 42 sector where battalions gathered, preparing for the cross-border operation that would define careers and end lives. In a corner of the camp sat a European woman with brown hair reaching her shoulders, thin frame suggesting years of field rations and constant movement. Her silence carried weight that made seasoned soldiers uncomfortable. Her name? Vela. Nobody knew her rank or current assignment. No visible insignia decorated her weathered combat uniform, no unit patches, no identification beyond a faded name tape that had seen too many battles. Her only possession, a torn canvas bag containing an SR-99 sniper rifle from an earlier generation. The weapon showed professional maintenance despite its age. Engraved on the stock in careful letters, "Return if I fall, recalibrate if I survive." She wasn't officially assigned to any squad, platoon, or company. No role on the tactical organizational chart, no position in the command structure. Yet somehow, she'd appeared at the base 3 days ago, and nobody had questioned her presence. The soldiers called her Avenger, a nickname reserved for those who arrived after everything ended, the ones who counted casualties instead of preventing them, the specialists who analyzed failures instead of creating successes. In the coordination area, a staff officer noticed her presence and barked, "Who authorized her access to the command zone? This is classified material." Vela looked up from the map she'd been studying and replied with quiet certainty, "I don't need command codes or authorization. I need to not miss the signs again." Her daily routine never varied. She positioned herself at elevated observation points around the base perimeter, always listening to backup communication frequencies that others ignored, constantly reviewing old drone footage and reconnaissance data that had been filed away and forgotten. When younger soldiers approached with questions, she answered briefly but precisely. A lieutenant commander once asked, "Which unit were you attached to before arriving here?" Vela's response silenced nearby conversations. "I'm the only survivor from that unit. The rest are in body bags because someone missed something important." The uncomfortable silence that followed spoke volumes. Nobody pressed for details after that exchange. She maintained peculiar habits that puzzled base personnel. Hours spent studying tactical maps of previous operations that had gone wrong, detailed analysis of failed missions from other sectors, close examination of casualty reports, and after-action reviews. Her weapon maintenance bordered on obsessive. Every component cleaned and recalibrated daily, ammunition inventory checked multiple times, equipment arranged with military precision that suggested someone who couldn't afford mechanical failure at critical moments. During mess hall hours, she ate alone at tables facing the perimeter, always positioned to observe potential approach routes, always watching for threats that others might miss. Other snipers whispered theories about her background. Some claimed she appeared at forward operating bases only after major combat losses. Others insisted she possessed supernatural ability to detect upcoming ambushes and enemy movements. But nobody asked direct questions. Something in her steady gaze discouraged casual curiosity. The weight of unspoken experiences that made even hardened veterans step back respectfully. The command base attempted to assign her to 1st Squad Sniper Section. She declined politely but firmly. "I operate more effectively without official constraints." "What exactly is your military specialty?" he pressed, reviewing empty personnel files. "Prevention of preventable deaths," she answered, "but only after I've already failed at that mission once." The night before the scheduled operation, Vela detected an unusual electronic interference pattern concentrated around Hill 8, the terrain feature designated as the primary withdrawal route following the main assault phase. She compiled a detailed report, including signal analysis, frequency patterns, and tactical implications. The response from intelligence personnel was swift and dismissive, insufficient evidence to modify established operational plans. Our most recent drone reconnaissance shows no enemy activity or defensive preparations in that sector. But Vela understood something the technology missed. Low-altitude wind patterns are running opposite to forecast predictions. Drone sensors are being deflected and masked by atmospheric interference. Unable to wait for official confirmation through proper channels, she gathered her equipment and climbed to observation point 12, a rocky outcrop that provided direct line of sight to Hill 8 at maximum effective range for her rifle system. Early morning brought the advanced reconnaissance team crossing checkpoint Alpha, according to the predetermined timeline. Radio communications confirmed all elements moving according to plan. Through her rifle scope's magnified optics, Vela detected something others had missed: a tiny reflection, metallic, geometric, the distinctive profile of a shoulder-fired launcher tube positioned among the natural rock formations. No time for radio protocols, no available frequency to warn the advancing troops, no authorization to engage targets outside the fire support plan. She fired her first shot, struck the enemy sniper's head with precision that comes from years of experience and desperate necessity. 3 seconds later, the hillside erupted in premature explosions. The carefully prepared mine cache detonated before friendly forces entered the designated kill zone. The scout team's radio discipline collapsed into chaos. The Technical Operations Center exploded with confused voices demanding explanations. Who authorized weapon fire? Did anyone clear that shot? What's the situation report from the forward elements? A squad leader's voice cut through the confusion. That was Avenger. She's positioned in observation point 12. Nobody assigned her to that location. The entire battalion operation ground to a halt. After 15 minutes of intensive reconnaissance, they discovered evidence of at least 4 coordinated ambush positions. Professional emplacements, interlocking fields of fire, synchronized explosive devices. Radio communications became a storm of urgent questions. How did one individual detect threats our entire intelligence network missed? Why wasn't this tactical situation included in the pre-mission briefing? Who gave authorization for an unauthorized combatant to occupy firing positions? The tactical operations officers studied his detailed planning maps with growing confusion. Position 12 wasn't even marked as occupied by friendly forces. No sniper team assigned, no fire support element positioned. Vela's calm voice emerged from the backup communication frequency. Enemy sniper eliminated. Multiple prepared firing positions identified and marked. Recommend immediate route modification and additional reconnaissance before continuing advance. The Operations Center responded. This is Battalion Command. State your authority for independent engagement of enemy targets. A long pause filled the airwaves. Then, my authority is, I refuse to let anyone else become casualties. I have to identify and collect. The Explosive Ordnance Disposal Team's subsequent investigation revealed evidence of sophisticated ambush preparation, remotely detonated explosive devices positioned for maximum casualty effect, coordinated sniper hides with overlapping coverage, communication equipment for synchronized assault timing. Without Vela's intervention, the withdrawal through Hill 8 would have resulted in catastrophic losses, potentially the entire advance element. But critical questions remained unanswered. How had one unauthorized individual prevented a disaster that escaped detection by comprehensive intelligence networks, satellite surveillance, and professional reconnaissance teams? The battalion commander personally climbed to position 12 to confront Vela. He found her methodically cleaning her rifle with the calm efficiency of someone completing routine maintenance. "I need a complete explanation of your actions and authority." She looked up from her weapon with eyes that had seen too much. The enemy was positioned exactly like the Hill 19 engagement. Identical tactical pattern, same timing sequence, same critical mistake that cost lives 3 years ago. Hill 19, that's not in any current intelligence files. Hill 19 is where my previous unit died because I waited for official authorization that arrived 4 minutes after the shooting stopped. The commander studied her expression and saw something that made him instinctively step backward. The weight of survivor's responsibility combined with lethal professional competence. You had no legal authority to... I had no moral authority to watch it happen again when I could prevent it. Later analysis of battlefield recordings revealed disturbing precision in Vela's actions. Her shot timing was perfect, within a 1-second window. Earlier, and the target wouldn't have been properly positioned. Later, and the enemy would have successfully triggered their coordinated ambush. She hadn't simply detected the threat through superior observation skills. She had understood the complete tactical situation based on pattern recognition from previous similar engagements. The intelligence failure wasn't technological or procedural. It was experiential. Vela possessed knowledge that couldn't be programmed into surveillance systems or taught in tactical schools. I don't need official orders or authorization. I need to fulfill a promise made over graves. If I recognize the pattern developing, I will not allow repetition of preventable deaths. Act 3. Deleted files and why she no longer has a team. 11 words. Following the tactical unit's withdrawal from the Hill 8 area, Battalion Command initiated a comprehensive review of Vela's military personnel records and operational history. The result was both surprising and troubling. Her complete file was secured under black-level encryption protocols. The only information available consisted of a single line: Echo V declassified authorization level pending review. Through painstaking analysis of archived audio, communication logs, and cross-referenced operational reports, intelligence personnel discovered that Vela had previously served with Echo Wiper, an elite, specialized unit focusing on electronic warfare, countermeasures, and anti-ambush operations in the contested Pole Mark 6 operational sector. During a classified mission, approximately 3 years earlier, her team had detected anomalous electronic signatures indicating enemy signal intercept capabilities and coordinated ambush preparation. However, authorization to engage preemptively never arrived through the command structure in time to prevent catastrophic consequences. 6 highly trained military personnel died because regulations prohibited engagement without explicit authorization from higher command levels. Vela emerged as the sole survivor from that engagement. Following extensive debriefing and psychological evaluation, she refused all subsequent official mission assignments, operating exclusively under silent response protocols that granted limited autonomous authority. She had received special operational permission directly from a theater-level commanding general in situations where standard communication channels are compromised or unavailable. You are authorized to take protective action provided the primary objective remains preservation of friendly personnel lives. But she had never utilized that extraordinary authorization until the Hill 8 incident. The deeper investigation revealed additional disturbing information about Echo Viper's final mission. The unit had been considered among the most elite electronic warfare specialists in the operational theater. Vela served as their primary designated marksman and communications intelligence specialist. The mission parameters that resulted in their destruction should have represented routine patrol operations. Intelligence assessments indicated clearly defined enemy patrol routes with no hostile activity reported in the operational area for several weeks prior to deployment. However, Vela had detected subtle electronic anomalies during their advance brief. Encrypted communication bursts originating from supposedly empty terrain. Radio signatures that didn't match known friendly or neutral forces operating in the region. She submitted detailed reports through proper channels. Command response was immediate and definitive. Equipment malfunction causing false readings. Continue mission as originally planned. Echo Viper advanced according to orders. When Vela requested permission to investigate suspicious positions that didn't appear on official intelligence maps, her request was denied. Maintain assigned positions and hold fire unless receiving direct hostile contact. When the enemy ambush was triggered with professional precision, it demonstrated sophisticated planning and coordination. Her 5 teammates were eliminated within the first 30 seconds of contact. Textbook execution of overwhelming firepower concentration. Vela survived the initial assault because she had positioned herself outside standard tactical formation protocols, technically against explicit orders, but consistent with her growing distrust of official intelligence assessments. Operating alone, after her team's elimination, she successfully engaged and eliminated 12 enemy combatants using superior marksmanship skills and tactical mobility. The engagement lasted 47 minutes until reinforcing units arrived to secure the area. The official after-action report was immediately classified at the highest security levels. Public documentation listed the incident as equipment failure resulting in personnel casualties during routine patrol operations. Unofficial reports circulated among field personnel painted a different picture. Command structure had systematically ignored early warning indicators that could have prevented the ambush entirely. During her mandatory psychological evaluation following the Echo Viper incident, Vela was asked about her decision not to report the Hill 8 situation through established communication protocols. Her response was recorded. If I had waited for official confirmation and authorization, 2 complete squad elements would have advanced directly into a kill zone. I made the choice not to have additional personnel become casualties that I would be required to identify and process. The psychological assessment report from her post-Echo Viper evaluation provided insight into her mental state. Subject demonstrates exceptional tactical, situational awareness combined with severe distrust of command decision-making processes. Professional recommendation supports independent, operational deployment with minimal administrative oversight. But a handwritten notation appeared in the margin of the official report. She recognizes tactical patterns that others miss consistently. Don't waste that capability on bureaucratic procedures. The theater commanding general who had granted her special operational authority made a personal visit to the forward operating base. His private conversation with Vela remained classified, but his subsequent public statement was revealing. Military effectiveness requires different types of soldiers. Some excel at following detailed orders precisely. Others possess the judgment to prevent situations that would require those orders. Both capabilities serve essential functions in successful operations. Following that high-level endorsement, nobody questioned Vela's tactical decisions or operational authority again. However, her unique status within the military hierarchy remained poorly understood by most personnel. She had effectively become an autonomous agent with lethal capabilities and personal motivation that superseded standard operational protocols. A free agent specialist whose loyalty was to mission success rather than administrative compliance. The other snipers and reconnaissance specialists began leaving small tokens at observation position 12, coffee supplies, additional ammunition, handwritten notes expressing gratitude for her protective vigilance. Vela never acknowledged these gestures directly, but she never removed or discouraged them either. The informal memorial grew over time, becoming a symbol of professional respect among the enlisted personnel. Her reputation spread through unofficial communication networks. Stories of the Guardian sniper, who operated without official authorization, but maintained constant protective oversight of forward-deployed units. Some accounts bordered on mythological claims that she could predict enemy movements hours before they occurred. Stories of impossible long-range shots that eliminated threats before they materialized. The truth was more complex but equally impressive. Vela had developed pattern recognition capabilities that allowed her to anticipate tactical situations based on subtle environmental indicators that escaped detection by standard intelligence gathering methods. She understood that warfare often required split-second decisions based on incomplete information. Official protocols prioritized comprehensive analysis and authorization procedures that could consume critical time when lives were at stake. Her approach represented a calculated risk. Operating outside established command structures meant accepting personal responsibility for consequences without institutional support or legal protection. But for Vela, that trade-off was acceptable. The alternative was watching preventable deaths occur while waiting for permission to act. Comment. For the one who fired first. If you believe some regulations are written too slowly for the people we lose. 3 days after the Hill 8 incident, Vela received official notification to report for accommodation ceremony, recognizing her actions in preventing casualties during combat operations. She declined the honor without explanation. When pressed by the administrative officer processing her refusal, Vela provided a single statement. I don't engage targets to receive recognition or awards. I fire my weapon because I continue hearing the sounds from 3 years ago that I wasn't able to hear completely at the time. That evening, she departed the forward operating base without submitting departure paperwork or requesting transportation authorization. However, the next morning brought an unusual report from the Communications Coordination Officer. Observation Position 12 continues receiving and transmitting tactical data. Someone is manually adjusting optical equipment and updating reconnaissance information every 4 hours according to established protocols. Investigation of the duty assignment logs revealed handwritten entries that hadn't been authorized by any commanding officer. Current status: not assigned to official formation structure. However, still maintaining effective range coverage of assigned sector. The base commander personally climbed to the observation tower to investigate the situation. He discovered clear evidence of continuous occupation: fresh water containers, recently cleaned equipment, detailed reconnaissance notes, updated within the previous 12 hours. But no sign of Vela's physical presence. A handwritten message was secured to the optical equipment with military-grade tape. Effective surveillance doesn't require official permission or authorization. Caring about personal safety doesn't need bureaucratic approval. Over the following weeks, mysterious tactical reports began appearing on backup communication frequencies. Highly accurate predictions of enemy movement patterns, early warning notices about severe weather conditions that could affect operations, identification of equipment malfunctions before they resulted in mission failures. All communications originated from Observation Position 12. All reports remained unsigned but demonstrated professional military expertise and intimate knowledge of local operational conditions. The rotating units that deployed through the forward operating base began referring to the location as Guardian Tower. Personnel understood that someone maintained constant vigilance over their activities, someone who possessed both the capability and motivation to provide protective oversight during a severe thunderstorm that grounded air support and disrupted communication networks. A reconnaissance patrol became separated from their main unit. Injured personnel, disoriented navigation, trapped in difficult terrain with limited supplies. Emergency radio frequencies carried their distress calls across multiple channels. A calm, professional voice responded with precise directions for safe evacuation through treacherous terrain. Unidentified station, please. Identify yourself for official recognition. The response was immediate and clear. I am someone who prefers not to count additional casualties. The patrol successfully returned to base safety following the detailed guidance they received. Upon arrival, they submitted requests to identify and thank their anonymous rescuer. The duty officer investigation confirmed, we have no personnel assigned to duty night coordination duties during severe weather operations. However, inspection of Observation Position 12 revealed fresh evidence of recent occupation, footprints in the mud that remained warm to the touch, coffee containers that showed recent use. Additional reports emerged from various units operating in the sector, anonymous warnings about potential ambush sites, tactical advice for improving security during vulnerable phases of operations, professional guidance that consistently proved accurate and valuable. The communications remained unsigned, but their effectiveness was undeniable. Casualty rates in the operational sector decreased significantly following Vela's unofficial protective activities. Military personnel began to understand that official organizational structures couldn't account for every type of valuable contribution to mission success. Sometimes, the most effective protection came from individuals operating outside established command structures. Vela had chosen to remain engaged in protective activities without seeking recognition, compensation, or official acknowledgement. Her motivation transcended bureaucratic requirements and institutional expectations. Comment: I'd stay on that ridge if you believe protecting others remains worthwhile even when nobody acknowledges your sacrifices. The forward operating base officially designated Observation Position 12 as permanently unassigned. No replacement personnel were stationed at the location, despite its tactical value. In the equipment storage facility, Vela's SR-99 rifle remained secured in its original canvas case. However, a new engraving had appeared on the weapon's stock, recalibrated following the shot that preserved 42 lives. The Tactical Operations Center displayed an updated situation map, featuring a new symbol, a small red triangle, marking Echo V, position authorization override prohibited. Below that designation, an inscription had been carved into the metal mapping surface. She refused to wait for official authorization. She simply refused to accept additional preventable losses. Years later, military tactical colleges would analyze the Hill 8's engagement as a case study in individual initiative versus institutional protocol. How one unauthorized action prevented a massacre that comprehensive intelligence networks had failed to detect. But academic analysis missed the fundamental lesson. The incident wasn't about circumventing regulations or challenging authority. It represented someone who accepted personal responsibility for preventing the repetition of past failures. Observation Position 12 achieved legendary status among military personnel. Young snipers and reconnaissance specialists made pilgrimages to the location, seeking to understand how someone could demonstrate such effectiveness without official authorization or institutional support. The truth was elegantly simple. Vela had learned warfare's most difficult lesson. Sometimes, preserving lives requires accepting responsibility that nobody grants you through official channels. Her legacy couldn't be measured in medals, commendations, or career advancement. Instead, it lived in 42 military personnel who returned home to their families because someone refused to allow historical repetition. The final entry in the base operations log provided fitting summary. Some heroes wear dress uniforms and receive public recognition. Others carry the weight of people they couldn't save. Both serve essential functions. Only one achieves peaceful sleep. Observation Position 12 continues overlooking the tactical valley, officially empty, but never truly abandoned. A permanent reminder that the most effective protection sometimes originates from individuals operating outside established systems because they understand the true cost of systematic failures. If you believe in stories that touch hearts like this one, leave your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to Iron Heart Stories. We preserve the stories that deserve remembrance. Real people create and share these narratives.